everyone, welcome back to my kitchen table. If this is your first time here, my name is Pamela and I like to share deliciously easy plant-based recipes. So if those are the types of videos that you like, be sure to click that little red subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of my future videos. In today's video, I have something a little bit different for you. I'm not necessarily going to share one of my recipes, but what I'm going to show you and share with you is how I transform somebody else's recipe into a recipe for myself and my family. So I was scrolling through YouTube the other day and I came across a recipe that looked delicious, but it had pasta in it and I don't necessarily eat regular pasta. And so I am going to show you this video. As you can see, we are at my computer. So you can see my screen, which has the video up on it that I came across that looked so delicious. It's by Young Man Cooking. You can see down here. If you see my mouse moving there. And it says it's a one-pan spaghetti, which I love one-pan meals because then I have less dishes to do. And I love spaghetti because, spaghetti is delicious. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video. I'm just going to hit play. And I have the sound off so I don't get any copyright infringements or anything. And we're going to go ahead and speed this up. And so the video starts out, I'm going to put this, I'm going to put this full screen. And so it starts out, he's chopping up garlic and I'm like, okay, I have garlic. I can do that. And he sets that aside and then he's got an onion. I'm like, okay, I have an onion. And I love recipes that start with really simple ingredients that pretty much anybody, including myself, has in their kitchen. So I'm like, okay, I got garlic on hand and I've got onions and then mushrooms. I don't have, these are, I think these are oyster mushrooms that he's cutting up. And I don't have mushrooms on hand usually all the time. But I usually have either fresh onions or I've got pre-diced onions in my freezer. And I've usually got fresh garlic or pre-diced garlic in my fridge. So those are, if a recipe's got that in it, golden, I've already got that in my my fridge or freezer or in my pantry. And here he's just talking about his knife. So let's go ahead and let's skip through that. So he's sauteing in oil and I'm like, okay, well, I can just switch the oil to water because I usually water saute. He's just doing salt and pepper. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, I can switch it to water and salt and pepper. Oh, capers. Cool. Got capers. I usually keep capers in my pantry and my fridge. And then he's doing some paprika and some oregano. Got that in my spice cabinet. Okay, looking good. I can totally do this recipe. And then he's got some crushed tomatoes here, a can of crushed tomato. Got that. So this recipe is really simple. This is totally something that I can swap out ingredients and make it into a recipe that I can eat. So now here's the spaghetti. So let me go ahead and pause this here. So now for the spaghetti. So when I come across a recipe, I'm like, okay, I have most of these ingredients. Yay, this looks really good. But then it's like, oh, there's the one ingredient I don't have, the mushrooms and the spaghetti. So mushrooms I can easily leave out, or if I want to go to the store and buy mushrooms and then make this recipe later, I can totally do that. But the spaghetti, what am I going to do about the spaghetti? Well, so the spaghetti, I don't eat regular spaghetti. So I can either do palmini noodles or I can do bean pasta. I can swap those two out. So it's the flourless recipe. So now then I think to myself, okay, well, do I want to make this recipe easy for me to weigh out and measure and, put on my plate? And so, well, yeah, because it's a one pot meal. So I want to make it all vegetables, right? That'll make it super easy for me to weigh out if everything is vegetables. So instead of using bean pasta, I'm going to go ahead and use palmini pasta because then the entire pot is vegetables and I can just weigh out everything all together. So that's what I chose to do is I just swapped out the spaghetti noodles for palmini pasta. So let's go ahead and keep going here and see if he adds anything else. Let's see, he just keeps talking. So that's it. He does add one more thing. So he's got some pepper there, olive oil, leave that out. And here he adds basil. Okay, so let me tell you a trick. I don't know if you can see behind me, but I have an arrow garden. And if you don't have an arrow garden, that's totally fine. You can add dried basil on top. But I keep an arrow garden, and it's got like a couple of different herbs that I use quite often. It's got like dill and Italian basil, which she's adding, Thai basil, and I've got some sage in there. And then out in my garden, I've got like rosemary and parsley and things like that. So yeah, so I went ahead and I added the basil. If you don't have basil on hand, like dried basil, fresh basil, just leave it off. It's not a big deal. So that's how I went ahead and transformed this recipe into a recipe that I could totally eat myself. So I am going to actually record a recipe for you that shows you how I made this recipe myself. It'll go a lot slower than fast forwarding through this video. So keep an eye out for that recipe video. And if you liked this type of video where I show you how I swap out ingredients and make a recipe BLE friendly or bright line eating friendly, then go ahead and give this video a thumbs up so that I know you liked it. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you next time.